This talk a little bit about, of course, a major topic last week across most of the whole state of Montana was flooding. How
Yeah.
serious was it around the Billings area?
So flooding wasn't so much an issue in flooding out, property. Certainly for those who was, but it wasn't a lot of property owners weren't affected in the city of Billings. What was, however, was our water plant. So we hit a high never measured before at the height of water. Had to shut the plant off and ask everybody to conserve. And thankfully, citizens helped us out. We went from about 11:30 to about 5:30, so about 6 hours without producing any water. And but we made our way through thanks to the good work of the people at the water plant. So that just illustrates how important the biggest item is in our budget, which is to get the reservoirs built in that second plant off of Hesper and Shiloh out there. That'll move us from having 24 to 36 hours of water capacity today to about 40 days of water capacity. So essentially from 1 to 2 days up to about 40 days, which is a huge game changer as far as being susceptible to problems, ice, drought, flood, oil, things like that in the Yellowstone.
The new city budget starts on July 1st. How close is the city council in getting it all wrapped up and ready to go?
Yeah, I think they're in good shape. They're going to talk about it some more tonight and hopefully get it adopted a week from tonight. So we'll do our final. We'll get some cues from them this evening. I know they're going to make some amendments next week. I don't know which ones. We did a little bit more of a formal process this year. There's 30-some amendments, potential amendments that they've provided in writing to one another and to the public, and all that can be seen in a packet that they got for tonight. So hopefully a week from now, we will get it adopted in time before the new fiscal year begins, July 1st.
This talk a little bit about expansion of the airport. A friend of mine went to Vegas, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and they flew out on the old part of the airport, and when they came back, brand new. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Awesome. $60-some million project in total. This is technically like phase 2 or 3, although really it's kind of the first public-facing phase of the project. So that is open up about about half of the terminal, a little more than half is done now. So that's what he flew back into. Now we pivot over, tear out what was the old section to the east and replace it. So here in late 2023, early 24, depending upon supply chain issues, the full front side, terminal side of the airport will be replaced, and really exciting. Have some delays on the restaurant and bar side. You see that, so just ask for people's patience as we get everything up and running and rolling. But that was great to cut the ribbon on that a couple weeks ago.
This talk about what's in the mind of a lot of folks out there, inflation. Looking back to maybe June of 2021 compared to June of 2022, the average American family is spending about $350 more per month on the same items and the same amount of items that they purchased last year.
Absolutely, and unfortunately that's hitting us strong as well, and we know that affects our taxpayers and ratepayers, so we're doing everything we can to conserve as well as just find alternative ways to do things. But fuel alone, which is probably where most of us are feeling the biggest hit, I mean, that fuel change, every additional dollar a gallon cost us about $1.5 million in cost. So yeah, we've gotten hit hard as well, and so really trying to maximize efficiency of public routes for public works, for solid waste, just knock off any additional mileage so that we're conserving as much fuel as we can.
And when we talk about, the price of gasoline, of course, that is a big, big inflation push that the city is dealing with. What other areas of inflation is a city dealing with other than the price of gasoline?
Construction, wages. So on the construction side, the new Law and Justice Center, City Hall project with the old Stillwater building, I think prices have gone up about 60% on some of the materials and labor cost related to overall projects. So we've got our general contractor, Dick Anderson. They do a lot of great work in town around Montana. They're helping us everywhere that they can, but that's hitting us. That's hitting us extremely hard. And then, we're needing to adjust wages to get people. I mean, one of the most visible places is solid waste. Folks are really frustrated with some of the challenges we face with getting enough solid waste drivers and getting garbage picked up. And part of what we've had to do is adjust wages upwards to simply keep. We've lost, these won't be exact, but I bet we've probably lost 8 to 12 drivers and hired probably 14, but lose them almost as fast as we can hire in some regards. So we're trying to find ways to keep, obviously, our best people who know the system, and just get that. Wages is one of the areas that's hitting us like everyone else.
How big a part of the budget does inflation factor in?
Well, it's pretty considerable because it's like everybody's home budget. It's driving up prices, and then on the other side, we're trying to make sure that our rates for utilities and infrastructure, everywhere we can, we're trying to keep our increase below the inflation rate, just because of the hit. Now, ultimately, if this is not a bubble, which we all hope it is, probably, if it's not more of a bubble but a continuation over the next several years, we'll have to find other ways to get more construction projects done, because at the end of the day, about every dollar we invest into, chip sealing a street, doing a mill and overlay, will save us anywhere from $4 to $6 on a reconstruction later. So we don't want to stop doing those maintenance issues because in the long run, they save us dollars more than they cost us. So.
Last week, the Fed raised the interest rates by about 0.75%. There's talk about maybe another 0.75 coming up here and another 0.5%. How does that affect the city of Billings?
Well, thankfully, we don't have a lot of debt, so that's good. But we do have some borrowing going on. So this is now the first time in my 25-year career, essentially, that interest rates are going to become a meaningful factor in debt, in our ability to borrow, not technically financial ability, but from a cost side. As again, these are all taxpayer dollars, fee dollars, and so we don't want to pay a bunch of money for interest and debt. So we'll probably continue to try to do as much cash work as we can. That makes our money go further. But that's just becoming a bigger factor than it has in several decades, as we're all facing interest starting to drive decisions about homes, cars, purchases, things of that nature.
Well, thank you for coming on this morning, sir.
Always good to talk to you, Scott. Have a great day.